Blackpool Mecca, no strangers to the show. Welcome back, boys. I got to say, one of the coolest things about y'all's band I noticed a couple weeks back was I saw you did a Jam in the Van episode, and I think that is so cool. I had no idea you guys were doing that till it popped up. Please let me know how that came to be, because I'm a massive fan of Jam in the Van. I thought that was really cool to see you do one.
Us too.
Yeah. I
cool.
literally, like, throughout high school and stuff, watched Jam in the Van and was like, oh, it'd be so cool to do one of those one day. And then, Chris, we were trying to do stuff for South by, and Chris put in randomly one day for us to go do it, forgot about it, months go by, and then all of a sudden we get this email that's like, hey, you get to be involved in this. And we were just like,
all right.
Oh, completely forgot we even sent that email. Like, cool. Like, I guess we're going to go down there to do this now. So yeah, we went and did that. And we were supposed to actually do it pre-COVID, like right before COVID hit. And I was actually in Texas visiting my mom. COVID stuff happened, and we were supposed to come down like the week later to shoot it. But no, South by's off. Like, don't come down here for this. And then we finally got to do it last year.
Yeah, it was like a year and a half in the making.
Yeah,
That's crazy. It's funny because it was next door. I don't know if you guys know this, but it was I was sitting at Beyond the Edge a few months back hanging out, and there was a Jam in the Van sign out in the parking lot, and somebody was like, oh, that's Jam in the Van. And I was like, that's the actual van. And then I thought, when I saw it, maybe that's when you guys did it. I was like, man, if I knew Blackpool Mecca was in there, I've been over there knocking on the door.
Yeah, so they'll do it here in Nashville for
I think it's Americana Fest.
Yeah, Americana Fest.
Come through. Oh, okay.
And they had done Americana Fest before South by, and they asked if we wanted to do it then, but like our schedules didn't line up then, and so we were like, oh, we'll just come down to Austin and do it then. So
that's awesome. That's the way it should be too. Doing it down there is way cooler, I think, than doing it here. That's the real OG way.
Yeah. It was really cool.
And speaking of OG stuff, you guys are playing the OG Basement coming up this Saturday night, February 11th. I think it's cool you guys are playing the Basement. I love going there. Like, I used to always love going there back in the day, but nowadays, I don't know how you guys feel, but doesn't it kind of feel like with Grimey's being gone upstairs, it feels like you're at some like private party the cops haven't got tipped off on yet?
It very much does. Yeah, it kind of feels like you're like in this dude's super awesome basement, like in his house. Like it doesn't feel... It feels like a venue and like the good parts, but then it also just feels like a house show sometimes, where like you're just there to have a good time, you know?
Yeah. And I hope it always stays that way. I was really worried whenever they closed or moved Grimey's, I should say. I was nervous they were going to shut it down. So I'm glad that it's going strong, and I don't see any closing in sight. Fingers crossed. But I love that, you know?
Yeah.
It's a great room. Every time we play there, we have a good time.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. And it's easy to bring. You bring 75 people in that place, you're a rock star. You know what I mean? It's a room, it's low pressure. It's a really low pressure venue.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, we're excited for this bill too. This show on the 11th. We've got Homes at Night and Super Cult opening.
Oh, hell yeah!
Great Nashville bands. Huge fans of both of them.
Yeah, they're really good.
I love that. I feel like you guys always play with different bands too, because one thing I noticed in this town is bands always kind of play with the same. You'll see the same bills, but every time I see a Blackpool Mecca show, there's always different bands on the bill. Is that on purpose for y'all, or do you guys just get bored of playing with the same bands?
It's definitely on purpose. It's not because we're bored, for sure, because we love all the bands that we play with here in town, but
there's just so many.
Yeah, there's so many great acts to play with, and so we're always just like, let's play with these guys. Let's play with these guys. We haven't played with them in a while. Let's play with them again. You know, we try to spread it out as much as we can. Play with as many great bands as possible.
Absolutely. I wasn't sure if you guys were just making enemies everywhere you went. Like every time you play a show, it's like, nope, never again.
We're just burning bridges after every single show, man.
Well, from what I understand, that's the secret to success. You guys are on your way. Definitely on your way. No, but it's cool. You guys are playing in town. You guys are one of those bands. I was having a conversation a couple days ago with, you guys familiar with the Ivans brothers, Jack and Jim?
I don't think so.
No,
I'm not sure.
Talking to them, they're putting out a record coming out. They were on the show, and they were talking about just the idea of how to get attention these days with a rock band. Like it's a different world. And it used to be for a while, it was like MySpace plays, it used to be a label could help you, a manager. Then it was like Spotify playlists are kind of irrelevant now. So it seems. But we were just talking about the different ways that bands can get attention. And I brought up a good point that I think that, live shows and touring will never lose the value. And you guys are definitely one of those bands. I mean, you're playing Chicago in March, and I know you guys have been out all over the place. Do you guys like hitting the road the old school rock and roll way?
It is our favorite thing to do.
Yeah, we love it.
If we could be on the road every single day, we would be. I don't think we would ever stop doing that.
Yeah, it gives me life. It's fun going out to new places and meeting new people, and
also to go back to a city that we've been to and seeing people, like familiar faces and friends that we've made the past few times we've been there and stuff. So it's definitely our favorite.
I love that. And that's the way to do it. That's the way things grow. And I think there's no way of knowing if something's good until it's performed in front of people. And you do see, like, nowadays, there's a lot of artists who like get really big on TikTok and on YouTube. And it's funny because they'll have like 30 million followers or whatever. And then they're playing like their first show and they're like terrified. They're like, I have to play in front of people. They're not used to it. It's almost like they're doing it backwards,
Yeah, that happened to The Weeknd. I don't know if you really listen to him, but yeah, he blew up, I think, like on SoundCloud or something like that. And then was booked to play like arenas and stuff, and he was like, I've never even played a show, like I don't know.
That'd be wild.
It's like, that's terrifying.
Straight to an arena, that's pretty insane.
Yeah, that's wild. See, I was thinking too of like Sam Tenez was a good example. That local guy Sam Tenez, he kind of blew up on YouTube, and then he had to do his first tour, and he was out doing clubs, but they were like packing out. And he was saying, I haven't really done a lot of shows. So just an interesting thought. And to me, as someone kind of like you guys who came up in the world of let's go out and tour, it's I don't know how you even begin to know what to do or what's going to work if you haven't tried it, especially at a smaller level before you get to the bigger level.
Yeah, that's a big thing for us, is like getting to test out new songs that like we may have recorded and not put out yet, or stuff that we're just writing still. Working it out on the road at shows is a nice way to kind of figure out the little bits and parts that you're still working on.
Absolutely. And just also to make a band work. I feel like you don't know if a band can really work till you've spent some time in vans with people and living with them and hotel rooms and all that stuff. I think it's one of those things you got to do it.
That's how I feel like that's how every band becomes a family and makes it last so much longer, because they sat in a van when they were mad at each other, but they couldn't get out of the van. They just had to sit in the van for 4 hours until they got to the next show or whatever, mad at each other, but knowing they still had to put on a good show that night or whatever.
Oh yeah, you got to swallow that pride. I remember being in a band, the first band I was ever in, we all would get one hotel room. We didn't have enough for more than one. And we had a rule that if you fought with whoever got in a fight had to sleep in the same bed with that person. And I remember one night, even me, it was like we had this massive fight with the bass player. I was like, no, dude, we got to do it. It's like, no, what better way than to right there, we're going to lay down and deal with this. It's very manly, if you will. Very,
very good.
It's a good rule. We should adopt that rule. I think that's good.
That's really good. Really good rule.
Well, you're welcome. Whoever the first guy that has to do it is like, God damn it, Andy. It's gonna be Well, since you guys are here, we definitely got to play the 5 random question again. And I know we've played before, but it's been a minute. Blackpool Mecca, 5 random questions on the local buzz. If you guys are ready.
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. So Groundhog Day was a few days ago, and apparently the groundhog saw his shadow, which means 6 more weeks of winter. What a crazy scientific country we live in here. That's how we determine this sort of thing. But I wanted to ask you guys, hell yeah, 6 more weeks, or did we even have a winter?
Man.
I'm gonna add a third option and say I'm over it. I'm ready for it to be over. We're ready for we like spring and summer because that's when we usually end up on the road a bunch and go out and play a bunch more shows. So we're chomping at the bit for spring.
It didn't feel like we had a winter either.
Yeah, it really didn't. It wasn't super crazy like it had been.
It was a little ice. It was a bit cold, but I did see my family up in New Hampshire. My mom was like, "Oh, it's -40 yesterday with wind chill."
Oh, wow.
And I could never deal with that.
Yeah. No, absolutely not. Question number 2. What were you going to say? Yeah, but I feel like too, like my brother lives in Iowa and he's the same. Like he'll like call me, yeah, we've got, 12 feet of snow. And it's like, it's just March. I'm like, dude, how do you live there, man? Like
We're
come down
down
here.
here like 20 is cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally, man. 100%, a little bit of snow, but
Yeah.
nothing crazy.
I like
it.
snow for a few days and then I'm like, okay, get it out of here. That's why I couldn't live in any of those northern states where like it snows at the beginning of winter and then it's there for 2 months straight. And it's just like, this is just life for 2 months. Like you just gotta live with it. And it's like, no,
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Like here we are, nice and icy. Question number 2, Blackpool Mecca on the local buzz. Ozzy Osbourne announced a few days ago that he is retiring from music, at least for now. He's obviously getting old, having a lot of health problems. No more touring for the Oz man, which is crazy to think. But wanted to ask you guys, what is one artist you wish would retire and would hang it up, if you will?
Oh man.
That's a tough question.
Feel free to take shots, local bands included.
Crocodile.
Is your way?
No, we love those boys.
Um, man, I feel like there was an artist just the other day. Oh gosh, what is their name? I asked you, I was like, what do you think of this band? And you were like, I've never really listened to them. I can't remember what their name is. They're a British band and they're not that old, but just every time and their music is in the same vein as ours. Like so it ends up in like a lot of playlists that I have of like other artists that I really like. And every single time one of their song comes on, like I know it's them immediately without having listened to all of their discography. I can just tell that it's them every time. And so every time it comes on, I'm just like, nope, get out of here. I don't want to hear this. And I've been right every single time that I'm like, I think this is that band. It always is that band. But
That's
I can't remember what their name is off the top of my head.
Right on.
I might have to go with like I love the Rolling Stones, but I feel like they're at a point where they're so old and their drummer passed, RIP.
Yeah.
If you're at that point, I feel like I can't imagine not being able to play shows, but at that point it's like maybe you should hang it up. Like you guys had your time, you did great stuff, and maybe just pass the torch on and let someone else have that.
Yeah, let the legacy lie where it is. I'm down 100% down for that. Question number 3, Blackpool Mecca on the local buzz. This is also kind of a vintage rock and roll band question. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame just announced the nominations to get into the Rock Hall this year. And of course, everybody gets all upset again with their favorite band to be in there and all that nonsense. But wanted to ask you, what is one band? I guess it's like a 2-part kind of question. What is one band you know will never be in there, but you think should be?
Oh, I don't know. I honestly haven't ever really paid that much attention to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So I barely even know who's in it. So I feel like I'd probably be like, oh, this person, and you'd be like, well, they got inducted like 10 years ago, and I'm just like, well, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I feel like it's a silly thing. It's a silly thing. What about you, man? Do you have anybody that comes to mind?
That pops off the top of my head. I'm kind of just thinking of like bands that are coming up that I'm just like, Ultra Q is one of the bands that I've been listening to a lot.
So it's possible they still could be in there.
Yeah, they could.
Yeah.
They might end up.
I can't think of a band that like wouldn't. That's like older. I don't know.
That's a hard one. I don't know.
Well, it's a tough thing too, because I feel like the example I always use for me is Soul Asylum, because that band came up with the Replacements. Kurt Cobain has had many times said he stole their style. He liked Dave Pirner's messy hair and the ripped up jeans. So this guy basically kind of invented grunge, but because they got so mainstream popular in the 90s, the Rock Hall kind of snubs them, but the Replacements are kind of remembered more historically. So it's a very political thing, and it's very strange. It's almost like you can't be too famous to be in the Rock Hall. You got to get kind of famous, but also kind of be weird, and then the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. We try not to. It's kind of the same way with like Grammys. We're just like popularity contest. Like
it's a distraction, is what it is, and someone's in charge of it too. That's the thing. It's somebody's opinion. It's always someone's opinion. And unless it's my opinion, I don't care about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Question number 4 with Blackpool Mecca on the local bus. So this morning I was driving super early around 7 a.m. and I passed a girl who had just rear-ended a car and she was failing her field sobriety test epically, like falling down while they had like the pin like in her face, that whole like pin thing they do. And so she was clearly in trouble. But when I saw that, I thought, man, I am so sick and tired of all this touristy smash thrill, as they call it, nonsense. So I wanted to say to you guys, party hard or welcome to New Nashville.
I'd say, well,
we're gonna party hard, but
safe.
Maybe not in that
way, but
like there's a good way to party hard.
Yeah,
there's a right way and there's a wrong way.
Drink responsibly.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and it's a shame too because she was really pretty. I almost pulled over and gave her my dead grandmother's ring. I was like, I found you.
I think you're going into trouble right now, but
yeah, I know. Once you get all this cleared up, give me a call. Question number 5 of Blackpool Mecca, the final question on the local bus. So you guys can have your dream tour. We're talking 78 dates, direct support with your favorite band of all time, massive tour. But the only stipulation is you have to tour in the Chinese spy balloon. That's how you ride around. You can't have a bus or a van. It's got to be the Chinese spy balloon. Do you take the tour?
Pretty tight.
I'm in. Yeah. I feel like it would be brutal, but worth it.
Oh,
it can be a slow tour. You have to put like 5 dates in between each show.
Yeah. Forever to get to the next city.
Right on. Well, Blackpool Mecca, I appreciate you guys playing as always. What's the rest of 2023 looking like for you guys? I know it's still early in the year. I know you guys are playing in Chicago in March, but more tours, maybe more music. What are you thinking?
Yeah, we've got an EP that we're getting ready to start putting some songs out.
Oh, hell yeah.
Later this year, maybe in the next month or so. Gonna start doing that and then touring a bunch. And I think we're gonna go and record another EP at some point this year too.
Nice. Road dogs and studio dogs. That's my boys right there. I like it.
Yeah.
Right on, guys.
It'll be a good year.
I love that. Well, you get that EP done, you send it my way. You guys know Open Door Policy bands I like here. You're definitely one of those bands. Blackpool Mecca's playing this Saturday night at the OG Basement. It's 9 p.m., $10 to get in. You got Homes at Night and Super Cult, not to be confused with Sugar Cult, who is what I thought it was at first when I saw it. Remember, you guys remember Sugar Cult back in the day, like 20 years ago? It was like a pop punk emo band.
Oh,
that name does sound really familiar.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
When I saw that, I was like, they're back. They are back. But I'm excited to check out this new band because Sugar Cult's very dated. Super Cult, those brand new. So I love that. Right on, boys. Well, I appreciate you hanging out, and I will see you all soon.
Of course. See you soon. Thank you.